jumping out of his motorcade right here. He certainly is. The president waving to the crowd right there, and
he's going to walk some of this route. Yes, they're moving the car on ahead of him. Yeah. He and the First Lady will both be walking some of the route, and the crowd goes wild.
That's what they wanted.
By members of the United States Armed Forces to be sworn in as the first president of the United States.
What an exciting moment. And the roar of the crowd, the closer the motorcade gets, it's like the wave in a stadium. You know, that's how it is. What a great shot there.
That's history. The warmest inaugural day ever was President Ronald Reagan, 55 degrees. The coldest inaugural ever was Ronald Reagan, 7 degrees. And when it was 7 degrees, they moved the whole ceremony inside the Capitol Rotunda, and they canceled the parade because they were worried that it was going to be so dangerous. That was the second inaugural. But today, we were worried that for a while that it was going to be a very snowy day, or at least a bitter day, and it has ended up being spectacular.
I think that's why it was so moving to see all those kids, like 5 o'clock this morning when I was going to the church, and to see kids bundled up. We still thought at that point it was going to snow, and they were still here. And parents were still bringing their kids or their grandkids, and it was very emotional to see that.
The security here in this city has been phenomenal. It's been so incredibly organized. There isn't an official on the street that doesn't know what's going to happen and how it's going to happen. It's really been, you go up, you ask a police officer, what about this, what about that? They've got answers. They know exactly what's going on.
There's something about we're watching the parade route both from the window where we're sitting right here on top of the museum just off of the mall, but also seeing the footage here. Sometimes it looks like we're looking at a catalog shot for people who sell lights and sirens, because you see the amount of security, the array, the sort of battalion formation of all this security, and that is somewhat of what we think about as circumstance, but it is also born of necessity.
But this is phenomenal that the president and the first lady are out walking in this parade, considering all of the hate talk that has surrounded me and the threats that have been brought forward to the administration and the visceral attitude towards some in this country. And the president just deals with it, and this is how he's dealing with it. He's appreciating the people of the country by keeping tradition, by getting out of the motorcade and walking with the First Lady.
I think that's one of the reasons he won re-election. He kind of dealt with it. He didn't play into the whole hate and hostility, and I think that people appreciated him keeping a balance and keeping the country balanced.
Let's go back to Tamron Hall, who is just a few yards in front of President and Mrs. Obama, and they have gotten out of the car. Tamron, what can you tell us?
Rachel, the First Lady and the President have walked about a block now. People are wondering, are they going to make the entire stroll to the White House? You can see, and the crowd is deafening. I actually told our crew, just tell me go, because I can't hear Rachel at this point. The swells, the screams, just echoing through this cavernous area of Washington, D.C. I'm also watching people who are literally running alongside of the First Lady and the President as they walk hand in hand, now more than a block. When the car door, when we saw this Secret Service, there's no reason to compete with that. You ladies and gentlemen in the studio can hear that for yourselves. But when we saw the Secret Service members go to the vehicle, start to open the door, Rachel, honestly, there was a roar like nothing I'd ever heard. And then the President and First Lady got out of the vehicle, and they've been walking now, again, maybe 20 yards from where we are, hand in hand, making this stroll, and we'll see if they take it all the way to the White House. Again, Jimmy Carter did the whole thing, 40 minutes, 1.5 miles. They may take it at least half the way to the White House, Rachel.
Tamron, thank you. Priceless to have you right there. I know you can't hear me, but I'm telling everybody else, it is priceless to have Tamron right there. You see, the president has his leather gloves in his pocket. The First Lady has her gloves on, her very fetching sort of aubergine-colored gloves. The president has his, does not need them. It is cold outside, but it is not frigid.
Color check. What was that color?
Aubergine.
Okay.
I made it into a reduction.
It's between what? Between purple and what, pink?
I can't dance, though. I will tell you a little bit of news. We've just been told by a senior congressional source, this is through Kelly O'Donnell, NBC's Kelly O'Donnell, that the King family, Martin Luther King family, asked President Obama and Chief Justice John Roberts to please sign the family Bible. And they did. There's no word on inscription of any, but for the King family Bible to have been used today is an honor in itself. For them to have asked for it to be inscribed by the Chief Justice and the President is...
And Medgar's widow did the invocation.
She was
who
incredible.
died 50 years ago. We're talking about anniversaries you were talking about earlier. He died June 1963 on the eve that President Kennedy had made the big civil rights address from the Oval Office. And I was sitting with Martin III on the platform. For him to look at Medgar's widow and his dad's Bible, it was like, it brought tears in my eyes, because it's like the civil rights movement coming full circle.
Let's go to Chris Jansing on the parade route now, who's quite near, I believe, the Vice President's vehicle. Chris?
It was absolutely amazing. People here went wild when Vice President Biden and Jill Biden got out of the car. They had just missed President Obama, and I was in the crowd asking people, are you disappointed? And they said, no, we got to see the motorcade and we can't get to say we're here. And then the Vice President pulls up and gets out, and everyone started cheering. The mood here is unbelievable, Rachel. You can imagine as the day got longer, it got very quiet, and people were listening to the music, and they were having the announcers on the big speakers here. But just the idea that they got to see the Vice President and his wife is a big thrill for so many people. And one woman said to me, this is sort of like the start of the football season. You know, Inauguration Day, anything is possible. You believe your team can go to the Super Bowl. Of course, she happened to be a Baltimore Ravens fan, but there is a lot of not just excitement here and enthusiasm, but I think among the people I'm talking to in these crowds, the belief that maybe this could be the start of something good, Rachel, and they were thrilled to see the Vice President.